Hello, 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 Stamping Friends. How is everybody doing today? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Caron Bailey. I am your ATX Stampin' Lady, and I am inviting you to join me right here in the craft room for an hour or so of some creative stamping and creating some Christmas cards today. Give me one moment. Again, as always, I do try to make sure that I am sharing, that I'm live, and everybody can find me where they need to find me. Give me a second. Put that in silent mode. All right. Always like to be able to see what you guys are seeing and if you guys are commenting so that I can see comments as well and be able to respond to anything I need to respond to from you guys. Everybody, yesterday was World Card Making Day. Did you guys get together and craft? I didn't see a lot of people. There wasn't a lot of people that joined me in the craft room yesterday for the World Card Making Day event. There you go. See, I didn't quite catch it, right? But I'm excited. If you have subscribed to my blog, you should have received the blog information. I posted a card yesterday for World Card Making Day, plus it was in conjunction with the Stampin' with Friends blog hop group, and I was just going to share with you how I created the card. All of the measurements are on that post, so head on over to my blog post dated October 4th, World Card Making Day. I believe the title was Delicate Pines in the Craft Room, a Stampin' with Friends blog hop, but it is dated October 4th, so check that out. All of the measurements are in there, so I really won't be talking about measurements as you can find them there. Okay, I'm going to try to finish out the set today because it was one card. I'm going to try to finish out the set so that I have at least additional four cards to add to my collection for Christmas cards for this year. I'm also going to try to, if I have the time, to create with you the same layout, but using colors and other stamp sets, another stamp set, to show you how versatile the layout can be. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we are, like I said, using the Delicate Pines bundle. It is part of the Elegant Pine Snowflake Suite. Currently, that is an online exclusive items. It is available in my online store. The link to my store is in the description box, so you can follow along there if you need to. So I'm just going to go ahead. I've pretty much pre-done everything for us. I'm just going to be assembling today, just so that you can see how to put it together. It is also the kit with purchase for the month of October. So when you make an order of $35 or more in my online store, I will send you the kit to create one of these cards. So you can always bounce back to this video to figure out how to put it together. Okay? So you do have, and my Christmas cards I like it to be very clean, very minimal lines. So that's why the palette that I chose was mainly white with hints of designer series paper popping through. All right. I hope everybody had a good day. So with the World Card Making Day event yesterday, Stampin' Up had that. You had to register for the event to get the link to watch. But what I ended up doing as well was hosting a watch party. And what a watch party is through Zoom. At least that's the medium that I use, is Zoom. And I will screen share, and so we can all be in the same environment even though we're not together to create the projects. And that's what we ended up doing. Michelle joined me from New York. Thank you, Michelle, for joining me in New York. I really appreciate that. But we had a good time. We crafted. We made the cards that was in the the event featuring that kit. And then we also broke out, what was the stamp set that we used? Artistic Leaves, and we kind of designed and played with some things in that project as well. So, I mean, we created, we just had fun, we socialized, you know how things go, right? All right, so I think on my embossed piece, I'm probably going to use the more, so I can get more detail out of it, I'm going to use the more detailed panel. And what I ended up doing was I find that when I spritz my cardstock with water prior to running it through the embossing machine, the image is a little bit thicker, not thicker, it's crisper, more embossed, I think. If that's the term that I'm really looking for. This is going to trim to 4. All right. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a point right here. And you guys, if you're looking for some gift ideas for the holidays, what I wanted to do was and this is something new. I always like to try different things to see how they'll work out. And in this one, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of shimmer spray, and this is called, what's the color here? I'm trying to see if I find the color name. Polished Jade. I don't know how this is going to work out. I didn't do it in my other projects, but I have it and I want to use it. So I'm going to grab a little bit of a, what I call my little spritz box. And I'm just going to spray it in there. Spritz this up a little bit. Oh, I thought I had cut this already. Hold on. A splatter box. That's what it's called, a splatter box. I normally would splatter off screen. And I have these in some different colors, but I think the jade might work a little bit better for the Christmas and the colors that's already in the designer series paper. Okay, that is definitely going to add a little bit of interest. That's definitely going to, I love it. So I'm probably going to use it on all of them. Matter of fact, while that one's drying, I'm just going to grab them all and do a little bit of spritzing so that each of them have a little bit of time to dry in between. I think that's so cute. And the further you hold it away, you don't necessarily get little splots like I do right here. And sometimes that's not bad. So as you do this, it's all going to be different because the splatter's not all going to look the same, right? And you can splatter as much or as little as you like. I like the splatter. All right. And don't forget to wipe the nozzle off, okay? Because you don't want it to seal itself shut. So we're going to put these aside to dry. did I do the other one? Did I do them all? Two. So where's, okay, there it is. All right, so let's start with this one. I love it, guys. See what happens when you play around a little bit? You just come up with something new. Of course, now I'm all inky, right? All right. I just created a little bit more interest to my card. And then we're just going to put this kind of like in the middle. You can measure, get as precise as you want, but I'm just going to eyeball my measurements. All right. Turn it over. Burnish. Okay. Then I'm going to put this right on there. You see what I mean about having that little spritz add just a little bit more something to it? I just love it. Then I'm going to grab me some dimensionals. I'm very weary of adding gems and stuff these days, primarily because, you know, with the cost of postage going up, it's ridiculous. It's really becoming a consideration now in for me anyway, in my designing, how many layers I put on, if I put on gems and stuff, things of that nature, just because for whatever reason at the post office, at least my post office, they're just looking at it and being like, okay, we're gonna do this. I'm like, no. Like yesterday when I brought this letter, same type, there was no additional charge per se, but now that's what they're doing. Okay, so we've got this in place, and then what I ended up doing is I have pre-stamped all of my sentiments. I've had them heat embossed, and now I'm just going to trim them so we can use them in place. Now, everybody knows that I'm a gadget girl, right? And I'm going to share with you this gadget that I bought. I don't use it as often as I should, but I bought this gadget, and this is a spellbinder's tool, and it's geared for people like me, is what I'm gonna say, right? Who literally cannot do anything in a straight line. Of course, you can always do this with a trimmer, guys, so you don't have to get anything like this, and I'm not advocating that you purchase it. That's not what this is about. All right, so how we use this is we line this up. This is a self-healing mat, right? And for me, I'm gonna put a little bit of green tape in there just because I don't want it to move or shift. I don't want it to do that. I have, it's the first Sunday of the month, so I'm back with my girls, and we're doing shoebox. I know the time on this video was 8 p.m., but I have a lot to do. I've got a family meeting after this afternoon, so I'm like, to avoid the possibility of missing it. And by it, I just mean this meeting. I'm going to just get this video uploaded and ready. All right, so what you do is you kind of line it up where you need for it to be. using the grid lines. And then you kind of just take the trimming tool. There's some grid marks or lines. What did I do? Gotta find it though. There we go. And then you cut it through. Somehow I did not get where it lined up where I need it to be. Okay, I'm using that line and that line. Make sure I'm in the groove, and then cut right through. Might have been faster if I just used my trimmer. Yeah, because it's, for me it's challenging getting the blade into, make sure that's right again. Okay, there we go. You can feel when the blade is where it needs to be. Yeah, and we'll just cut that off. And then do the same thing, line it up. Where you want it to cut it off. Get the blade in the groove. Yeah, it wasn't in the groove. Find that groove and then just slice it through. That's my biggest problem, is getting this slice through. So I'm probably just gonna bring my trimmer out for the rest of them. Yeah, and practice a little bit more. Practice just a little bit more with my tools. That's the beauty of gadgets. Oh my goodness. I don't know why it's doing that. Once you get it to work right, it works beautifully. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of trimming. I'm going to bring my trimmer in now that I've showed you that tool, and then just go ahead and trim them all. You can use a die to trim. I'm just going to use my trimmer. Make sure that's even. And then line everything up the way I want them to be. Because I want this to be a very close cut. And what I'm using to line it up is the edge of the guard. Perfect. And I trim it again. Using my guard as my alignment. Trim a little bit more. And then there we go. All right. When you're mass producing things, it's just easier to do everything at once. Let's trim this down a little bit. I am going to flag my ends. If you are watching me this morning, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time out of your Sunday to pop on in the craft room and take a look at what we're working with today. If this is your first time in the craft room, please share that with me. I would love to welcome you. Welcome to the craft room. If you are returning, thank you for always supporting the efforts of this channel. Don't forget to like, share, and invite and comment. The more you comment on these lives or any of the videos that we post, the more folks are able to find us, people that are looking for craft ideas. Okay? All right, so I'm just going to flag there. I do have a punch that will do a banner, but it's, again, easier. And I'm going to share with you a couple of ways. The first way I'm going to share with you is you just find the middle of your strip of cardstock, or your sentiment strip, cut a line, however the depth of the flag that you're wanting to create. And then from the corner, the edge, cut a line straight to the tip of this center point that you just cut through. And you do that on both sides. And you have flag. Now, if you found the center, as close to the center as you can, you should have a somewhat centered banner. Okay? The other way that I choose to do banners is I will fold it a little bit. Now, I'll fold it edge to edge. Now, it does get a little crumpled, which is fine. And I'll put edge to edge. I'll pick my point, and then I'll just do a diagonal cut one time. And now you know it's absolutely middle because you folded it in the middle. Okay? So whichever way you choose to create that flag, it's not wrong. Okay? There's really nothing wrong in crafting. You kind of either create something new from your quote-unquote mistake, or it's just a little design element that you've created that nobody else has done yet. All right, so sometimes it's easier, like I said, just to banner it that way. It's completely up to you. All right, so all of them are flagged, and so now let's get to finishing our cards. Now the rest of them will go by fairly easy because we've done our stamping. We've already cut everything apart. All right, we're gonna try to put this right here, and I'm gonna offset it just a little bit because I do want you to be able to see the designer series paper, right? So what I'm going to use as a guide is the point in the banner. I'm going to line that up with the edge, with the bottom edge of that designer series paper strip. All right. And like I'd say, when I create my cards, I tend to design, build from the card, and then I will adhere it all to the card base. So I like to put a complete panel already on the card base. That's just my preference. Some people prefer to build on the card base. This is just not how I prefer to do it. Let me give you guys a heads up. I just put out a newsletter because I just found out about it myself. Save the date tomorrow, August 6th. October 6th. I don't know why I went back to August. Goodness. For 3 days, Stampin' Up! Is starting its kit collection sales. You get 30% off of the kits. Love the kits. I work with the kits a lot. So you'll get 30% off the kits. So be a good time to kind of pop on over to the website, take a look, and see what the kits are. Keep in mind whichever ones you want to get for yourself. But guys, as always, and I will tell you this, if there's one that you see that you want, do not wait. Get it as soon as you can. Why? Because there's no guarantee that it will be available the next time you go back. I'm probably gonna go back and order some more, especially the Christmas ones, just to make sure that I can have my Christmas cards ready. I have to create a lot of cards. I create cards for my Stampin Friends. We exchange cards, of course. Now, because this is embossed, you got to make sure that the adhesive, you get the adhesive done right, okay? So you might have to burnish it a little bit more, hold on to it just a little bit more, just to make sure that it can. So here's our Christmas card, you guys. Take a look at this. And it just made such a big difference just using the spray. I mean, it's just adds such a little bit more dimension to it. So let's go ahead and get started with the, oh, I didn't finish. I forgot this. And so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to add this little embellishment piece right there. And it is just from the stamp set. It is one of the images in the stamp set. And we just added a little bit more detail to it. Okay? Let's work on the other ones. So I'm using the designer series, the two-sided paper, right? So you can use whichever side of that cardstock that you want to use. Fortunately, what I have done is I have I've cut one of each of the sides, so you'll have, like, if you were to turn this over, you'll see that we'll create one that looks with this cardstock or this print. So we're just going to use all of the designer series papers. So you can use one sheet of paper. Now I cut this at 2.5 by 3.5. But if you want it to be a little bit smart, and I should have probably been a little bit smarter, is if I wanted to get more cards out of it, right? Is I should have done, I could have done 2 by 3, right? Because if you cut it at 2 by 3, what happens? Out of a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock, you can do 6 and 6, right? 2, well, you can do a lot. So you could get a, you know, I'm going to cut it that way. So you can see how many sheets, how many cards you can make by using a 2 by 3 instead of doing a 2.5 by 3.5. It just makes it easier, math-wise anyway. So again, all of the measurements are on the coordinating blog. That's on my blog post, and that blog post was dated October 4th. So, which is why I'm not telling you any measurements. We're just assembling these cards today. I'm sorry I didn't join you guys last night. I just had, you know, sometimes I went out. I did Saturday mornings. I meet up with the ladies from my Slowest Shell walking group. We generally meet every Saturday to, you know, get a little walk on, enjoy the nature, enjoy nature a little bit, and so we did about 5 miles yesterday. And usually 5 miles is not an issue for me. But lately my, I mean, I'm not trying to tell you all my medical business here, but lately my joints and my knees have been bothering me. So it just takes it out of me. So I ended up taking a little bit of medication, or a little bit of pain meds. And that just knocked me out yesterday. So I just couldn't do it. You know, I did the walking, and then I came back and I was sitting a lot for for World Card Making Day, so everything kind of seized up a little bit. Had to take more payment. It was ridiculous. But it is what it is, and you deal with the hand that you are dealt, always. And this one I did not add dimensional. Making sure everything sticks and adheres. Again, using the center of the banner as my guide and alignment. Then you kind of just play around with okay. That was number one. Do you see how fast once you do them in assembly line manner, you do all the stamping, you do all the embossing, then you can just quickly roll through the assembly piece. Again, because it's embossed, I'm making sure that I have enough adhesive to make sure everything stays adhered. Okay, perfect. Everybody have coffee this morning? Yes, I have mine sitting off to the right of me. Although most people would tell you that my coffee isn't, I have more stuff in my coffee than I have coffee. I have more stuff in my coffee than I have coffee. One of the few ways that I get a lot of my vitamins, supplements, and things of that nature is I put it in my coffee. So in my coffee, I have my collagen. I have obviously my coffee cream and stuff like that. I have my turmeric. I have ginger. Everything that's good for gut. Some things that's good for gut health. I have my fiber. I just have it all in there. Yeah, that way I don't have to take it separately. I'm just burnishing the adhesive to make sure I have good alignment. It's aligned properly. So again, all of the measurements for this card can be found and supplies that I've used. You can find them on my blog. The date of the blog post was October 4th. So you'll find it in the October 4th blog post. And here's card number 2. Same design, right? So we're going to quickly try to finish up the others. And I'm going to show you what assembly line looks like, yeah? Remember we used this piece here? Okay. We use this here. So you don't generally have to think about, if you use, the beauty of the Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper is that it all coordinates with each other. So you can kind of use them for a project like this and they will all work well together. Now some of them are heavily focused on maybe a particular color. Like this one is Mossy Meadow, so you know you can focus on the Mossy Meadow pieces. I had to trim this down a little bit. Hold on. It's the same and the same. Remember this one? So if you do a 6 by 6 and you use the measurements, the 2" by 3", you should be able to get 6 cards out of one piece of 6 by 6 designer series paper. So that means if you do a 12 by 12, you'll be able to get 12 cards out of one piece of designer series paper. I think that's right. I pride myself on my math, but I sometimes don't always get it right. Yes? So I cut on the one before, I cut that a little bit too short. Alright, so this one's going to go here. And then I need this, this. And then this one, I need to trim this just a little bit. Let's see if we can take maybe about 1/8 of an inch off of it, right? Because that's what we need to do. Just a little bit. We want to make sure we have a little bit of a border. So I cut this at 3/4 of an inch. So to make sure I have a good border all around, I'm going to cut it down to 1/2 an inch. And I'm making that adjustment just because I cut this piece to 3/4 of an inch, okay? Well, I hope you guys will give this layout a try. I will try to do a layout sheet for you, just so you have it for reference. Oops, sweet daisy. There we go. So that's how that's going to go. All right, so let's go ahead and put these cards together. You can change out your sentiments so that your sentiments are not all the same. And for this project, I am keeping them all the same, but you do not have to keep them the same. You can change them. I am choosing to keep them all the same. Okay? But when you design your cards, when you create your cards, you can choose to use the same sentiments or not. As always, if you do choose to create with any of the projects that I make, I would love it if you would share them with me on my Facebook page. Again, my information is listed in the description box below. So you should be able to find all of that information available. Okay? I'm going to do one more for you, but I'm going to do it after I finish these. But I'm going to do it with color, just so you can see a difference in how it is with when you add different colors and different prints. You can use this design with any of the Stampin' Up! Designer Series papers, any of our stamps. Instead of embossing the 4 by 5 1/4 layer, you can actually just choose to stamp on that layer if that's what you chose to do. That is another option. You can make that piece another designer series paper. You could do that as well. So you do have options to add a little bit of variety to the base card design. I'm gonna have to make sure I pop out of here pretty soon to get ready to go to my shoebox. So our theme for shoebox this month was fall, Halloween or fall theme. I don't really do a lot of Halloween things, so I went with a fall design. I'll share that with you after I share it with the girls. Yes. Well, I wouldn't want them to see their card before they get to make it, so I'll share that with you when I get back. I'll just take a picture and post it on my website, on my Facebook page, so you'll see it there. So you see what I mean when I say because of how we use the shimmer spray, that each one of our cards will look different. And they'll look different because our splatter, our shimmer didn't go in the same directions all the time. So even though they are the same, they all look a little bit different. And that's okay. Hi, Kathy. How are you? How are you feeling today? I'm sad I won't see you at our Sunday crafting today. Yes, I'm gonna go to Shoebox today. I haven't been to Shoebox with the other girls in a little bit, so I am gonna go to Shoebox today. So I won't be able to hop on with you guys unless I get done early at Shoebox. Then I'll definitely pop on home to get on Zoom to craft with you guys. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, is I meet every Sunday with some of my other crafting friends, my card making friends, and we get together every Sunday at 1 o'clock and we just craft together. It's just a time for us to do that. We don't really, most of us are demonstrators. We're not all demonstrators. Some of them are my customers. So it is open to my customers and some of my demo friends. And again, so it's not about selling. It's about creating with each other. It's about networking, socializing, talking about crafting, talking about life, whatever's happening in everybody's life. There's just it's just kind of like a free-for-all kind of deal, but it's just a craft space that we can build friendships, maintain our friendships. Kathy lives in Katy, Texas, close to Houston. We've got Michelle, who's in New York. We have one of our stamping friends who's in another part of Texas. So everybody's everywhere. Yvonne is in, oh my gosh, it's one of those M states. Ah. Oh, so you're not gonna make stamping today either, or will you be home in time? All right. I think that's good. And then we're going to pop this on here like that. And so you can also, I'm going to share with you also, you don't have to use liquid glue. For anything that's embossed, I would use either liquid glue or double-sided tape. I would not use Seal Plus might work. Stampin' Up Seal Plus would work. But to make sure that because it is embossed and you have created that texture, to make sure you have good adherence to things, I would use either liquid glue or I would use double-sided tape. So I'm sharing with you how to use with double-sided tape right here. Okay. For double-sided tape, I generally will burnish to make sure I have good adhesion. Cardstock to tape, and then now I generally prefer liquid glue, and again I prefer liquid glue because for me I need that extra time to make sure I line things up. With adhesive, I find that I generally don't have that playtime to line things up. And once you press it down, baby, it is down. Crooked or not. So I tell you, if you get a card from me, don't be upset if it's a little cattywampus there, because Caron's eyes are always a little cattywampus themselves. So. Wyoming, thank you. I know it was one of the W states, I think. I can never remember. Oh, so you're 3 hours. Oh, so you may make the tail part of crafting today. If you're not tired. 3-hour drive. Whew. Now, even though we used the shimmer spray on this, if you wanted more embellishments, you could still add gems. I might still go back and add some gems to the center of these flowers just to make it sparkle a little bit more. But you don't have to, because these cards are pretty much finished as is. Okay. So again, for our Christmas card palette, I went with white, a solid white panel. Mostly white with pops of color. So I'm going to share with you this design using colors in different designer series paper as soon as this one is done, okay? You see all that detail in the back? I mean, I use so much extra liquid glue on these just to make sure that everything will seal properly. One thing that, you know, as a card maker is my own aesthetic is, you know, when I send a card, the thing that will just totally mortify me is, you know, the person that receives the card tells me, hey, you know, when I got it, it was separate. That would, oh my gosh. So I will over glue versus under glue any day of the week. Okay. Awesome. So I'm just gonna take this over. There we go. All right, so here are the 4 cards, same templates, and you see how they all just look a little bit different. It's the same designer series paper pack. I just used the front and back of, like, I think it was 2 or 3 of the sheets to come up with these particular cards. So these are going to add to that. So the other one that I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to do these in colors, right? So I think how I wanted to do these, I'm going to play with blooming phrases for my sentiments. And here's the cards that I'm going to work with, right? So here's the back, here's the front. This is, I think this is some Pure Pizzazz is the color that I'm using here. So let me tell you some other things that you can do to augment this simple design, right? So once I've adhered this to the 2.5 panel to the 2 3/4 matte layer, you can run this through an embossing folder of your choice. Create some texture and dimension right on this layer, right? So you could do that. Then Remember I told you this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. I added on the Christmas panels, I embossed that piece. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to stamp on this. Okay? This is my 4-inch panel, my 3/4 by 4-inch panel piece of designer series paper. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to grab some of these. And I'm going to do a little tone-on-tone stamping to create a background. I love the cone flower, so I'm going to use the cone flower one. I'll probably use all of them. Hold on. I had my darling duckling put aside for, I had the darling duckling panel set aside for, just dropped. And so what I'm just going to do, now because of how it's going to be laid out, I don't have to stamp all over it, but I'm just going to add randomly. Trick somebody told me was when you're trying to do something that's called random stamping is you don't turn the stamp set, you turn the card stock. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do here, is turn the card stock. But I'm also trying to do a triangular pattern with most of everything that I'm doing, right? You see that? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? And then that's how I'm 1, 2, 3. That's how I'm trying to create the background. The rule of threes. And then also try to remember when you're let me get back over there, to try to stamp off your cardstock just a little bit, okay? This 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's how you kind of can think of it, right? 1, 2, 3. Just like that, we've created a little bit of interest in our layered piece, and now we can go ahead and put this together. You can also still run this through the embossing machine as well. Okay. Now the thing about the fact that I did not emboss it, right? So I didn't have to add that extra glue because there's no texture for me to try to avoid, right? And all I'm doing with this is kind of deciding how I want this, because all I did was I punched the designer series paper out. This is with the 1 7/8 inch punch. And this is going to be like my focal point, right? Also, so I just want to make sure, because I know I'm going to cover part of this up with the sentiment that I stamp, right? All right, so let's see. Let's make this a just because kind of card. I love just because. Just because. Just because. Just because. All right. Then I'm going to grab a piece of white. I think it'll fit on here. Yep, just like that. And this just happens to be scrap that's laying around. And I'm going to bring out my Secret C. I know this is one that I'm not heat embossing, right, guys? If you know anything about me, I heat emboss everything. Oh, before I forget, I want to say happy birthday to my friend, fellow demonstrator, and stamper, Sharon Coleman. Sharon, happy birthday to you. Sorry we won't be able to be stamping with you today, but I just wanted to make sure that I wished you a very happy birthday. Enjoy your day. You could have done any color that you wanted to. Secret C is kind of like a blue-black. So that's kind of why it's like a, well, you can see it. It's kind of like a bluish black color. And then, let me just stamp this on here. I think I got it all covered. Boom. Like that. Okay, and I do want to trim it because it's just way too much for me. I'm going to trim it on the top. So this could probably end up, because right now this is a 3/4, I'm cutting it down now to 3/4 of an inch. Then I'm probably going to take another, I could probably do a 1/2 inch. So this will probably be a 1/2 inch by 4. Yep, it is a 1/2 inch by 4. I'm going to use dimension probably on this guy for a little difference, right? So just because I did the original pattern in white, I'm just showing you with this that you don't have to just do white, right? You can do any color, cardstock, designer series paper, sentiment that you wanted to, okay? I'm going to change my location of my sentiment. Now I'm going to put it kind of like in the middle of that. You can also mat your sentiment if you wanted to mat that as well. But I'm going to put it just across here, and we know that'll fit because, right? And I'm going to switch up the sides as to where I'm putting that because I want this to be here. I don't want to cover up my just because. But I'm also going to wait until I put this on to see how much overhang I can play with, right? Where's my bone folder? And this is what I was talking about how much overhang I'm going to have, okay? Just trim this off. Like that. Add our liquid. liquid adhesive. Again, because it's not embossed, I don't need as much liquid adhesive. So I just do my envelope pattern or style of adding liquid adhesive. And here we go. Perfect. You can bring out your shimmer sprays if you wanted to. You can bring out some Wink of Stella if you wanted to. Those are just additional things that you can do to add interest to this print. I'm looking for my dimensionals now. You can add some ribbon if you wanted to. And now for the coup de grace. Let's just put it this way. Right, and I'm gonna bring out my Wink of Stella because I want my flower to add a little bit of sparkle and shine. So I'm gonna add that right all around like that. Add that to my card. Go. So here you have that same pattern in color. And here we go. Look at that. Different, but yet the same, right? All right, guys. So again, let me just make sure that I remind you that starting tomorrow, October 6th, Stampin' Up is having a 30% sale for 3 days, 6, 7, and 8, 6 through the 8th, 30% off all of our kits, the kit collections that you can find in my online store. You'll see them, the link to my online store in the description box. Guys, if there is a kit that you see that you want, please do not delay. It will be while supplies last in that 3-day period. Stampin' Up in the 10 years that I've been with them has not done a, what do you call that thing? A rain check on sales. So if you want something and it's available when you pop online, put it in your cart, take advantage of the 30% and check out. Okay. Also coming up is the Traditions of Christmas, which is on the 23rd of October. This is a virtual class that's sponsored by Stampin' Up. It is a $30 fee to sign up and register for that virtual class. It will feature the Traditions in Christmas suite. You cannot get that suite as a suite. I believe it's missing, as of when I placed my order, it was missing. I believe it was just the embellishments. But you can buy the stamp sets. It's a 2 stamp set suite. You can stamp and die bundle suite. So you can buy each of all the parts except the gems separately and still have the materials that you'll need for the class. It's the 23rd is the class. I believe it is kind of sort of during the day. So what I am doing is I'm going to be hosting a Zoom workshop later that evening, because I will be working myself. So when I get home, I will go ahead and I'll watch the video. I'll do a watch party, and we can watch and create the projects together in that Zoom party. If you register and purchase your supplies through my online store, this for you is completely free. It is just an opportunity to craft with me. If you have not registered through myself or purchased through my online store, there will be a $5 fee, registration fee, to partake in the Zoom class. Okay? or the watch party. On that note, you guys, I have got to spring out of here because I got to get ready to go to my shoebox. So you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for stopping in. If you do need to reach me, please take a look at the top of my screen. You will see how to contact me, my email address, my website. Don't forget to subscribe, share my video, share my channel, and come back and watch me next week. Guys, thanks, and have a happy holiday, happy weekend, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy stamping!